There was a question regarding what kind of, I think Manas, you asked, UAE, Saudi Arabia, I mentioned that. Look, I think almost all country and the citizens are having the same difficulty. The airport is non-operational. There is intense fighting going around in various parts of the country and in the city, particularly in Khartoum. And I think various countries are looking at options, how to get their citizens out, how to get their diplomatic personnel out. And we are obviously in close contact with them, whether through the capitals, through their embassies in Khartoum, as well as in New Delhi. The support is not specific, it depends. Some countries have some influence and information. Other countries perhaps could guide us in what measures they are taking. Perhaps we can pool resources. At this point, it's a bit premature, but we are in touch. Certainly, as I mentioned, UAE and Saudi Arabia are on that top of that list. Meena, you asked about the control room. Look, most of the calls, the contact is actually happening in Khartoum. However, there are people who are contacting here. So I wouldn't know the exact number, but at least 100 plus calls would have taken place in the less than 24 hours that this is, a little more than 24 hours that this is operational, but I have to check the exact number. Many of them asking for their relatives, etc., where they are and what should they do. We are asking them if there's somebody who hasn't contacted our embassy, and let me reiterate that to people who may be watching this broadcast. If you are in Khartoum or you know of people in Sudan who have not yet reached out to the embassy, please do contact our control room or the numbers of the embassy so that you can be put on a list so that you know where you are and how we can render assistance to you. You had specific questions regarding from Shrinja. You had asked about outside the Indian embassy. Look, the Indian embassy actually is located just opposite the airport, and that zone has seen a lot of fighting. There's been some shelling, etc. So I won't be able to specifically comment on whether it has happened specifically outside the embassy, but yes, there are reports that in that zone where there are many embassies, there are attacks going on. There have been certainly gunfire and fights on the street. I don't understand what you said. There have been silence in terms of reports from Khartoum. We certainly are trying to be in contact. The focus currently is on contacting the stranded people and the affected people. And of course, today's briefing is part of sharing what we know and what our next steps are. I think, Siddhant, you had asked about ceasefire. Look, yes, of course, if the situation on the ground improves and there is a pause in the fighting or there's some formal ceasefire, we will certainly take advantage of that. Primarily to first, I think, to get people together in safer areas, provide food stuff, provide water, those kind of things. But for the moment, it is still it is a very tense situation where there is not been too much of a respite from the fighting, although the intensity has been going up and down from time to time. I'll come back to a follow-up on that. Pranay, आपका प्रश्न था कि अटैक हुआ था एम्बेसी पर. हाँ, तो अटैक हमारे एम्बेसी, देखिए एम्बेसी जिस जगह पे है, मैं कहता एयरपोर्ट के पास, उसमें काफ़ी वहाँ लोकल फाइटिंग चल रही है, तो उसमें हम कंफर्म नहीं कर सकते कि एम्बेसी में एग्जैक्टली कोई, अभी एम्बेसी में कोई है नहीं, पर हमारे जो दूतावास के लोग हैं बाकी जगह से ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं और वो लोग सबसे कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं. तो एम्बेसी पर अटैक हुई या नहीं मुझे अभी नहीं मालूम, पर सिचुएशन जैसे इंप्रूव करेगा हमें पता चलेगा जब हम जा पाएंगे उस एरिया पे. पर एम्बेसी के सारे जो पर्सनल हैं वो काम कर रहे हैं इस पे. इवैक्यूएशन के प्लान्स डिपेंड करेंगे सिचुएशन ऑन द ग्राउंड पे. हम चाहेंगे कि वो सेफ रहे. हम आइडियली चाहेंगे कि ये फाइटिंग बंद हो जाए ताकि ऐसे ओकेशन होना ना आए कि हमें निकालना पड़े. पर अगर हमें निकालना पड़े इंडियंस को, तो उसके लिए हमारे पास हमेशा कॉन्टिजेंसी प्लान्स रहते हैं और इस सिचुएशन में भी कुछ प्लान्स बन रहे हैं. हम रेडीनेस पे हैं, पर वो डिपेंड करेगा कि एयरपोर्ट कौन सा ऑपरेशनल है या रोड से कुछ कर सकें. ये अभी प्रीमेच्योर होगा कहना. डिपेंड वो सिक्योरिटी सिचुएशन पे डिपेंड करेगा. Akhilesh, you had asked about plans for sending officials on aircraft. Look, again, as I was mentioning to Pranay, that will all depend on the situation on the ground. I wanted to assure you that we are in readiness of taking multiple options. There are contingency plans. We are in close touch with our teams on the ground. But it all depends on how long there is a pause in the fighting or a ceasefire. Where it is happening, what is available in terms of locations where we can safely take people away. I think that was related to Reza. You had asked a question regarding food and electricity, etc. Yes, there are issues of electricity. Parts of the city, we understand, have not had power for intermittently or for a few days. Food, I understand there is food, but look, street movement is difficult and shops aren't open, so that makes it much more difficult. We are trying to counsel, our embassy is trying to counsel groups or Indians how they can assist or they can find ways to get over this period. I won't be able to share with you specific details. That will depend on where exactly they are located and what are the local facilities available.